Welcome to Walking with the Lord. This is a quiet space where we slow down, open scripture, and learn how to stay close to God. Today we are reflecting on the life of Miriam in the Bible. Miriam is often remembered simply as the sister of Moses and Aaron, but her story reveals much more than a family connection. She was a prophetess, a leader among the Israelites, and someone who played an important role during one of the most significant moments in biblical history. Although the Bible does not give us a long biography of her life, the moments where Miriam appears reveal powerful lessons about courage, worship, humility, and leadership. To understand Miriam's story, we first need to look at the time in which she lived. The Israelites were enslaved in Egypt. Pharaoh had grown fearful of their increasing numbers and ordered that Hebrew baby boys be killed. During this dangerous time, a baby boy was born who would later become Moses. In order to save his life, Moses' mother placed him in a basket and set him among the reeds of the Nile River, hoping that somehow he would survive. Nearby, watching carefully, was his sister Miriam. Miriam stood at a distance to see what would happen to her younger brother. When Pharaoh's daughter discovered the baby in the basket, Miriam showed remarkable courage and wisdom. She approached Pharaoh's daughter and offered to find a Hebrew woman to nurse the child. Through that simple but courageous moment, Miriam helped reunite Moses with his own mother. What may have seemed like a small action became part of God's larger plan to preserve the life of the man who would later lead Israel out of slavery. Miriam's story reminds us that God often works through moments that appear ordinary. A young girl standing by a river became part of the unfolding story of deliverance. Years later, Miriam appears again during one of the most powerful moments of celebration in the Old Testament. God had just delivered the Israelites from Egypt and led them safely through the Red Sea. As the waters closed over Pharaoh's army, the people realized the magnitude of what God had done for them. In Exodus chapter 15, Miriam is described as a prophetess. She took a tambourine in her hand, and the women followed her with tambourines and dancing. Together they sang praise to God for his victory and deliverance. Miriam did not simply witness what God had done. She responded with worship and helped lead others into that same response of praise. This moment shows us something important about faith. When God works powerfully in our lives, worship should be our natural response. Miriam used her voice and her influence to direct attention back to God. Her leadership did not end with that celebration. In the book of Micah, God reminds the people of Israel that he sent Moses, Aaron, and Miriam to lead them. This tells us that Miriam held a recognized leadership role among the Israelites. God's work among his people often involves many individuals serving together in different ways. However, Miriam's story also includes a difficult moment. In Numbers chapter 12, Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses and questioned his authority. Their criticism revealed pride and jealousy that had grown in their hearts. God responded by calling the three siblings to the entrance of the tent of meeting. There he made it clear that Moses held a unique position among the prophets because he spoke with God face to face. As a result of this confrontation, Miriam experienced God's discipline. She was struck with leprosy, and Aaron pleaded with Moses on her behalf. Moses prayed to God for her healing, and although she was eventually restored, Miriam had to remain outside the camp for 7 days before returning. This moment reminds us that even faithful leaders can make mistakes. Pride, jealousy, or careless words can lead to serious consequences. Yet Miriam's story also shows us something encouraging. Her story does not end with failure. Instead, we see both correction and restoration. Later, when Miriam died during Israel's journey in the wilderness, the people mourned her. This response shows that her life had made a lasting impact on the community. So what can we learn from Miriam in the Bible? First, courage in small moments can shape the future. Miriam's decision to step forward by the Nile River helped protect the life of Moses. Second, worship matters. Miriam's leadership in praise after the crossing of the Red Sea reminds us that celebrating God's work strengthens the faith of others. Third, leadership requires humility. Influence should always direct people toward God rather than toward ourselves. Miriam's life reminds us that God works through both our strengths and our weaknesses. He uses ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary purposes. And even when we stumble, his correction can lead us back to restoration. Thank you for taking this time to reflect on Scripture together. Continue walking faithfully and growing deeply in his word at walkingwiththelord.net.